Welcome back to Miami. Game 2 Eastern Conference semifinals. The Miami Heat down 1-0 to none. And the Knicks will start Allen Houston, Chris Childs in backcourt, Larry Johnson, Patrick Ewing, and Charles Oakley up front. Pat Riley's Miami Heat will counter with Deshaun Leonard, Tim Hardaway in the back, Jamal Mashburn, Alonzo Mourning, and P.J. Brown up front. Let's check in with Brian Burwell.
The playoffs are like a microscope for players. They magnify their strengths and their weaknesses. And once again, this playoff's critical eye is zeroing in on Alonzo Mourning, trying to see whether his greatest strength and maybe his Achilles heel, his emotions, how they'll affect him. Now, the Knicks big men, Buck Williams and Charles Oakley, say that if they see that warrior spirit as a positive energy, they're in trouble. But Buck says if they can needle him, if they can frustrate him, and they're going to try to do that, then they turn his emotions against him. And that's why it's going to be real critical to see how those referees call this game early on, Vernon, Doc.
All right, Brian, thank you. This will be the 5th time these two teams have played this year. 4 regular season games, once in the playoffs. Ron Garrison, Hugh Hollins, and Ed Middleton are the officials. And Alonzo Mourning in the series against New York this year has averaged 5 fouls per game.
It's such a tough situation for him because Alonzo Mourning is a guy who plays physical and with intensity. So to tell him not to do that and save your fouls is really tough for him to do.
Deshaun Leonard had a forgettable game the other night. Here's Hardaway. P.J. Brown off the assist. No. Mourning with his first rebound and the putback. No. And Allen Houston comes down with it.
Yeah, but it's always nice when you come out the start of a game and you get an offensive rebound, especially against a team like the Knicks.
Childs picked up by Hardaway. Houston cuts through. Now the pick and roll with Larry Johnson. Allen Houston finds Patrick Ewing. P.J. Brown defensively on him. They started with Oakley the other night. On Oakley. And here's a travel.
And that's the first Knicks turnover. And if there's any key you want to watch with the New York Knicks, it's their turnover problem. They led the league in turnovers, and they had 8 in the first quarter in game 1.
Settled down after that and wound up with only 15. Hardaway. And he will go to the free throw line.
This game has started out a lot like game 1. Tim Hardaway can get to the paint whenever he wants to, and he's done so. Here he just explodes, and the help is too late.
Foul is on Chris Childs, his first, and the chance for a three-point play.
That'll be one of the few chances you'll see a guy get to the basket in this series. There's very few layups given up in traffic in this series.
And an early 3-0 lead. Now Childs. Houston guarded by Deshaun Leonard. And the first jumper, the first foul.
See, he can get that all day. What people fail to realize with Allen Houston is that he's a big 6'5", 6'6" player, has long arms, and he can shoot over Deshaun Leonard anytime he wants to.
Allen Houston had much the better of this in game 1. Houston with 27 points. Leonard drew blanks from the field, 0 for 6.
And it's really tough because if he doesn't score, that gives Allen Houston rest. If Allen Houston is resting on defense, he's more dangerous on offense. Pat Riley talked about that this morning. He said he really wants Leonard to go at him, but he's not that type of player.
Well, and you were pointing out to us this morning that Leonard's shots come with Mourning in the ballgame as well.
Yeah, that's why Alonzo is so key. You know, everyone's talking about Deshaun Leonard going 0 for 6. The reason is Alonzo Mourning wasn't in the game.
P.J. Brown, nice pass, and Alonzo Mourning will go to the free throw line where he has had his problems in the playoffs.
And that's why he's going to the free throw line. In most cases, you see guys give up this dunk. When Alonzo Mourning is shooting free throws the way he is, you must foul him.
Mourning under 50% in the 4 games of the playoffs this season. And he said it's all mental.
It is, and I can tell you that from experience. I had a playoff series against the Pistons a long time ago where I missed my first couple and it lasted throughout. It's mental and it's tough. The best thing that can happen to him is what's happening to him right now. He gets on the free throw line, but you have to make them.
Offensive board. It's tipped to Hardaway, and Tim Hardaway gives Miami a 6-1 lead. Now Chris Childs. There's the switch. Jamal Mashburn. Hardaway picks up Larry Johnson. Illegal defense called by Ed Middleton. That's the first of the night, and that draws the warning.
Well, so far in this game, the Heat have gotten all the loose balls. That's something Pat Riley was really concerned about. He said the Knicks got all the loose balls, all the rebounds in game one. We want to reverse that trend now, and so far they're doing that.
6-1 lead, Miami. There's the pick and roll and the switch, but Mastering goes back with Johnson, trails him along the baseline. Leonard has Houston. Ewing sets the screen and picks up the loose ball. P.J. Brown gets Ewing back. Rebound, Mourning. He's got 2. He's got 3 now, and he had his 3rd rebound late in the 3rd quarter in game 1. So the early signs very positive. Now the ball back to New York.
The turnovers the Knicks made.
Brown tries to get it back, and Childs puts it in the hands of Larry Johnson. Now Chris Childs picks up Tim Hardaway. Mourning out on.
And doing something he shouldn't do. That's the way he picks up fouls, and he's lucky he didn't get one right there.
Alonzo Mourning, started by Oakley, muscles his way in, comes down in the hands of the Knicks. Chris Childs pulls up, takes the jumper, got it.
That's a nice shot in his rhythm, a right time to take him. They need him to do more of that.
That cuts the lead to 1. 8:45 to go in the opening quarter. Back to Mourning. Powers his way by Oakley. Shoots it over Ewing. And Mourning is 0 for 3. Chance for New York to get its first lead. Watch the matchup, Vashawn Leonard, Allen Houston.
And watch Vashawn Leonard. One of the things that Pat Riley talks about is locking and trailing, no going over top. And you can see Leonard coming over. He might want to go over top, but he didn't. He follows and he gets tight. They're going to pay attention to him. And actually, Vern, in that play, you still have to guard him closer than that. He's lucky that Patrick Ewing was down on the post and the play was for Ewing.
Childs at the free throw line for the tie.
You know, you're looking at a picture of Jeff Van Gundy. I don't think much has been made about the job he's done in New York. You look at a guy like this, a guy who didn't play in the league, who didn't have the stature of a Pat Riley, and he got a bunch of superstars to listen to him. That is a great job, and very few people can do that.
Well, Jeff Van Gundy has 1 year left on a 2-year contract. Ernie Grunfeld says it is the policy of the Knicks to always renew in the final year. We will talk with Jeff Van Gundy. Meanwhile, I'm sure he's watching Patino and Brown saying,
man.
"Oh, I like the trend."
Well, Pat Riley started it all.
Shot no good. Here comes New York. Neither of these teams shot the ball well in game 1, both under 40%. Here's Oakley. Tipped away by P.J. Brown. And at the other end, Vashawn Leonard. Ewing out on him. Nice switch. Here's Mourning underneath. And back to the free throw line.
And that's nice to see some transition offense for Miami, because they didn't get much of that in game 1. And this is where they score their points. Look at this here. This is in transition. Now, the Knicks did a good job of getting back. But you get Alonzo Mourning that low, there's going to be a foul. That's a good foul because he probably had 2 points.
Mourning now 2 of 3 at the line.
Well, even more importantly than a 2 and 3, he hasn't got the foul yet. And that's important. Pat Riley said he must stay in the game. He said if he wants to save his fouls, he wants him to save his fouls for the 4th quarter so you can really defend instead of worrying about foul trouble.
1 of 2 at the line this trip. We're tied at 7, under 8 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Chris Childs. Mashburn back on Johnson. Oakley spots up, takes the shot. Give him that much time. It's
I tell you what, the pass was better than the shot.
Larry Johnson.
I mean, that's a small forward who a lot of people think is a power forward, who just made a great baseline pass.
Mourning, nope, still won't fall for him. Oakley with a rebound. 4 Oakley rebounds now. A 9-7 New York lead.
And if you're waiting for a high percentage shooting game, you better turn, because that's not going to happen here. This is going to be a defensive struggle. Great basketball.
Johnson. Touched last by Larry Johnson, who disagrees with that interpretation. Larry Johnson is having a terrific playoffs. Yeah, had a great series against Charlotte.
And it was great in game 1, especially early. I thought he kept the Knicks in the game from getting blown out.
Underneath, Miami can't buy a basket. 2 of 10. Those are Utah figures. Those of you who watched the game last night, Utah 2 of 22 in the first quarter. And a little verbal exchange. Larry Johnson and P.J. Brown. Time call. Knicks by 2.
Much better when he's in the game. 31% in, 8% out. Now when he sits, there's no low post threat, and the Knicks defenders can concentrate on their three-point shooters.
So far, so good, at least in the foul circumstance.
Yeah, in the foul circumstance. And the Miami Heat, they're getting shots. They're getting shots they want. They're just not going in right now. That's not a big concern if you're the coach, because you think you have trust in your players. At some point, they're going to go in.
Miami outscored 8-1 in the last 3 minutes and 50 seconds. And Charles Oakley will throw it in. (9-7) New York. Game 3 in the Garden Sunday on NBC. Game 4 Monday night. Doc and I will be in New York for that one. 6:35 remaining opening quarter. There's Allen Houston. Rashawn Leonard puts a hand in his face and draws a foul.
2 fouls, 2 isolations. Allen Houston has had 2 isolations in this game. Both times he's been fouled. Now that's an illegal defense, but look at that. I mean, he's so much bigger, and all he can do is put his hand in his face and hope that he misses the shot.
Second illegal defense, thus Allen Houston shoots the free throw.
So I should say 1 foul, 1 illegal defense.
Right. Why Pat Riley for the 1 game? You think that he's as good as anybody in 1 game adjustments?
Because that's what he does. He motivates. Of all the great things he does as a coach, the #1 thing is motivation, mind games, and he's the best at that. Right now, I think over anything else, that's what the Heat need, is somebody to tell him that they're a really good basketball team.
Ewing. Underneath, loose ball picked up on the line instead, so it will be Miami. Patrick Ewing misses on the shot. Early shooting, not really attractive for Miami, 20%. New York at 43%. Heat have missed their last 5 shots. Morning being fronted for the moment by Oakley. Now Leonard.
See, that's a shot that you haven't had a good shot, so you take a shot. That was a forced shot for Rashawn Leonard.
3-point New York lead. Oakley up and under. Got it. Beauty.
I tell you what, his low post game has really come along. Now, you're not going to see more than 1 or 2 post-up plays for Charles Oakley. But the fact that he can do that now is really big. But look at Mourning. Instead of fouling him like he did last game, he did not. He got up in the air and he allowed the basket, something Riley probably doesn't like either.
Leonard over to Hardaway from P.J. Brown. They've missed 7 in a row. Offensive board for Mourning. 5:20 to go in the half. The layup is good. That ends the Brown.
Yeah, and that's nice, especially Alonzo Mourning gets the rebound. Rashawn Leonard gets the cut in a basket. And any basket for Leonard is important.
It was a big run in the 3rd quarter that propelled New York to the victory in the first one. And this foul is going to be called on P.J. Brown. That's his second.
Yeah, you can see them fighting right now. I didn't know actually where the foul was or who it was on. They called it on P.J. Brown, but I thought either guy could have got the foul in that case.
Johnson, Childs, Oakley, Ewing, and Allen Houston. first sub getting ready to come in. It'll be Ike Austin for P.J. Brown. They front Ewing, and a beautiful pass puts Patrick in position to score.
You can see the Knicks are prepared for that. One of the things that Jeff Van Gundy was worried about is the defensive pressure Miami put on him. He said it affected their offense, and they have to get in their offense better.
Leonard, he still hasn't connected in this series.
And that was a good shot for him and a good shot attempt. It just didn't fall. Didn't look good either.
Giles dishes left side. Here's Houston for three. Rebound Oakley. And a fresh 24. Giles has it for New York. 5-point Knick lead. Ewing went for the statement and missed the basket.
Was hesitant.
Oakley, Mourning. Oakley gets it this time. That's his second.
Yeah, and both calls are questionable. The one on the other end that they called on P.J. Brown, and this one on Charles Oakley. Because what I'm seeing right now is Alonzo doing more of the pushing and grabbing. That's their old veteran move right there, is when you hook.
Watch Ewing miss the dunk just a moment ago.
And watch the hesitation. I think you go straight up and you dunk it. He was hoping he could get a foul called, and there was no call. There was no foul.
Oakley will sit with two. P.J. Brown sits with two.
Yeah, the difference is the Knicks can bring in Buck Williams.
Mashburn. Loose ball picked up by Chris Childs. 5-point Knick lead. Johnson on the pass from Childs. Kicks it out to Allen Houston.
Boy,
that's for three.
you have to find him, just like you have to find Rashawn Leonard on the other side.
Knicks lead by 8. Knocked out of bounds by Ewing. Dan Marley will come on now for Pat Riley's Miami Heat. And Jamal Mashburn, or Rashawn Leonard rather, will sit.
Well, you knew Marley would come in early. If Rashawn Leonard was not connecting from the O, you bring Marley in because he can give you both. He can give you offense and defense.
Marley in the playoffs at 9 points.
This is a move Pat Riley kind of talked about this morning, but didn't want to say, that Marley is really important. We want to make sure he's on the court, and you knew where he would be on the court at, and that's he wants Allen Houston to play some defense, and that's what Dan Marley's going to make him do.
Well, cleanup crew duty going on right now. There's Allen Houston. Well, here's what Jeff Van Gundy will throw at Alonzo Mourning.
And that's pretty nice when you look at all these teams. And the guy with the one, to me, is the best defender of all of them. And that's Charles Oakley.
That one is knocked out of bounds, and it'll go New York's way. Oakley sits, 2 fouls. P.J. Brown on the bench for Miami. The Heat jumped out to a 6-1 lead. They have been outscored 16-3 since then.
Well, it's similar to what happened to them in game 1, but it was in the third quarter. So if you're Riley, you'd rather have it for it to happen now than in the third quarter. You have 3 more quarters to make it up.
10-point New York lead. Timeout, Miami. 22nd timeout is called.
Chris Childs is really playing big this game. He didn't have a very good game. He made 1 big shot in game 1. He's coming out on fire tonight.
And talking about it.
Yeah, well, Chris can do that with the best. He can dance a little bit, too, as we've seen.
Well, it is going the Knick way right now. They're up by 10, 19-9. And Charles Oakley getting some medical attention on the bench.
His elbow. He probably feels he'll use it more tonight, so he wants to ice it. And it won't be from shooting.
Coming up after this one, Bob Neal and Chuck Daly have moved on to Seattle. The Sonics and the Rockets game 3 in the Western semis. Seattle with an enormously significant victory, I think, in game 2.
That was a huge, huge win. I don't know if the Atlanta, obviously the Atlanta win was bigger in Chicago, but the Seattle win in Houston was close.
Underneath after the front. Basket good from Alonzo Mourning.
He's playing a really nice, controlled game right now. He's playing with his mind. That's nice.
2:50 to go opening quarter. The lead is 8. Houston shadowed by Marley. Takes the jumper. Marley got a hand up. Picked up by Hardaway. Finds Isaac Austin, who can't find the ball. Alonzo Mourning gets his first basket of the night.
Yeah, this is the type of bucket you need to get you going. Layups. That's very true. Transition defense in the Knicks in game one was the key. I think that is what won the game for them. As they got back, Tim Hardaway had to create, but he had to create in a half-court situation. They found Rashawn Leonard, and they basically took him completely out of the Miami Heat's offense, and they relied on those 16, 14 points.
Marley on the floor now for Rashawn Leonard. A moment ago, a nice defensive play from Dan Marley on Allen Houston. And Isaac Austin is at the line. There's Rashawn Leonard struggling in this series. 0 for 8 now in the 2 games.
And it's so tough in the playoffs because you have that 48-hour period where you have to sit and wait. Your family calls you, your friends call you, everybody gives you advice. The best advice you need is none. Don't listen to anybody. You haven't forgotten how to play the game. Just go out and play.
Here's Houston picked up by Marley. The lead is 6. Patrick Ewing. Ewing looks underneath for Johnson. Now they'll isolate. These 2 old Georgetown Warriors. Well, one a little older than the other. And Ewing gets 2.
And gets away with the travel.
Patrick, of course, played for John Thompson and graduated in '85. It was Mourning's senior year in 1992. Here's Alonzo at the other end. Turnover. Chris Childs off to a good start in this one. Terrific speed, and the follow is good. Buck Williams.
Really used his body great. He used his body to shield off Ike Austin. That was a nice move. And great follow-up by Buck Williams.
Back to a 10-point margin. Illegal defense. That is the first called against New York to the warning.
Miami's really struggling trying to get points. If Alonzo Mourning is not scoring, there's no one else right now that can do anything. Tim Hardaway can break down the defense. They need one more guy, either Mashburn or Marley, to break down the defense.
A foul is called.
Next foul, number 33.
On Ewing, his first. And Miami is in the penalty.
And this is the type of foul that Alonzo Mourning got in game one, guarding somebody else, helping. Now Patrick Ewing gets one.
Keith Askins is going to join the Miami lineup on the floor. One of the disparities in game one was the inability of Miami, first of all, to get to the line in the first half. They were there only 4 times. And then to convert. And New York was sensational. They were 32 of 33 in the ball game. Well, tonight, New York 4 of 5, but Miami has been there shooting now for the 9th time.
Yeah, and what Van Gundy said, we're probably not going to shoot that well from the line again. And he says Miami's probably not going to shoot that poorly. So we have to be careful. You know, Van Gundy has a psych job in his own right. You win game one, you have to try to get your team to believe, not going into games where we got our 1 win on the road. Now we're all right. He wants them to say, let's win tonight also.
Ewing battles for it. Mourning is guarding him. Marley on Houston. Right side, Patrick Ewing. Beauty.
That is so nice. Allen Houston can break you down. He can get in the paint. People think he can shoot. He can. But he likes creating with the live dribble.
Austin, no. Another rebound for New York, and that's 6 for Patrick Ewing. Giles kicks it back to John Starks, who's on the floor now. Starks had a tough night in game one, 1 for 8. Buck Williams, foul called on Ike Austin.
Knicks are out running right now. You can see Ike Austin here. And now Buck Williams has a quick disadvantage that he uses. He can't post them up, but he can go around them.
One more. So many of these guys in the Knicks talk about the significance of signing Buck Williams as a free agent.
I think he was the key sign. Obviously, Johnson and Larry Johnson are solid. But as far as leadership, those Buck Williams is the guy.
Mourning knocked that right into Ewing's hands after the miss. Askins follows Starks. Ewing. Mourning with another rebound. That's 5 Alonzo Mourning rebounds. Hardaway, Mourning, Ike Austin, Askins, and Marley on the floor for Miami. Here's Hardaway. Got it!
He's a guy who can create offense. And in a series like this, where both teams mirror each other, you need a guy who can create.
And Miami needed a spark. Perhaps that is it. Houston guarded by Marley. 7 on the shot clock. Oh, dear. Oh, whoa, dear. My goodness. Here comes Hardaway. Foul by Childs. Second foul on Chris Childs.
And that was a good call. Chris Childs accidentally tripped him, but I tell you what, an accident is still a foul.
Watch the isolation with Allen Houston.
And look at the first step. He gets by and he explodes. You know, Doug Collins told us when we were doing a Detroit game, he said, you won't believe this, but they were having tests of who can jump the higher, and Allen Houston beat Grant Hill in vertical jumping. That's hard for me to believe.
Miami having great success at the free throw line tonight.
And big, important end of a quarter for Miami. Down 10, and they're getting right back in this game with the 3. If he makes this, that's a 5-point turnaround in the last 25 seconds of the first quarter. This is a big turnaround for the Heat.
Nine of 11 at the line in the first quarter for Miami. And they've cut the deficit in half for the moment. Here's Mourning, tipped, out of bounds. We've reached the end of one. Chris Childs, who was not all that effective in game 1, put together a very nice first quarter. 6 points, 2 of 3 from the field. We've reached the end of one from Miami Arena. The Knicks up by 5. Dan Marley came on for Basharam Leonard late first quarter. And Charles Oakley back on the floor now for New York. So it's Oakley and Charlie Ward who played really well in game 1.
Yeah, I really think he plays well with Allen Houston because he finds him earlier in the break.
Starks rejected. Beautiful defensive play.
Alonzo Mourning is playing great around the basket.
Hardaway finds Mourning underneath. That one set up by the defense.
Yeah, and the last 3 times Miami has scored has been an open court situation.
7-0 Miami run now. They survived a putrid shooting first quarter. They were 4 of 17. Miami, that is. But they had great success at the foul line. Here's Ward. Travel. John Starks with the drive, and watch the defensive effort a moment ago.
Well, Starks missed some tough shots in game 1, so he wants to take it to the bucket. The problem is Alonzo Mourning is waiting for you. He's playing great.
And he's staying on the floor. No fouls so far for Mourning. Lead is 3. Marley on the cut and missed the shot.
Oh, wow.
Whoa! At the other end, Ward finds Starks in the corner.
That's another guy you do not want to get going. You knew tonight he wanted to come with it because he played awful in game 1.
Here's Marley. They front Mourning with Buck Williams. Three-second violation. Watch Marley on the curl and miss.
And this is a way they want to try to get some of the other Heat guys involved, is by curling, rolling to the basket, getting layups. Unfortunately, it didn't go in. You won't see that very often with Dan Marley.
Margin is 6 at 28-22. Larry Johnson sets the pick for John Starks. Ewing getting a rest. Illegal defense. again called on Miami. That's the third.
And that's the second time on pick and rolls that they've come off the pick, and we're talking New York, and thrown it back to the roller. In game one, they were talking about that they were swinging the ball to the other side, and that's exactly what Miami wanted them to do. Today, they're throwing it back to the guy who sets the pick, and one time there it caused an illegal defense. The other time it gave Patrick Ewing a wide open shot.
Hopefully gets the technical. 24-second shot clocks at either end are non-operative right now. Makes things a little tough.
Yeah, it really does, especially in a game like this where you use all of the 24-second clock before you shoot.
Hugh Hollins has gone over to confer at the scoring bench. What happens here?
Well, right now, if it cannot come on, what they'll do is play without the clock, and with 5 seconds left, the guy will announce 5 seconds, 24 seconds. I don't like playing like that because when you're a point guard, you're running your offense, and you look at that clock as it's just natural, and you don't see anything on. You panic. You're thinking, is there 6 seconds? Is there 10 seconds?
Right.
You really don't know.
Just prior to the start of game one here on Wednesday night, these two clocks went out. They got them fixed before the game actually started, but now there's a problem. Well, Pat Riley, of course, came from the Lakers to New York. And the core of this team still there. Ewing, Oakley, Starks, Charlie Ward, and Herb Williams, of course.
And you know what's funny? You look at the 5 guys, you ask who's the leader on this team. And I'm golfing yesterday. Yes, I was. And,
yeah, you played golf yesterday?
Yeah, can you believe that?
I can, yes.
And the leader, and that I was golfing with some of the Knicks guys, and it's Charlie Ward. The young guy, you know, he wasn't a Heisman Trophy quarterback for nothing. He has leadership skills, obviously.
Well, the interesting thing there relative to his relationship with Riley is that in his rookie season, Riley played Charlie Ward a total of 44 minutes.
Well, there's a reason for that. I was there.
I'm just here to set you up.
Thank you, Vern. Thank you.
Larry Johnson gets 2 and shoots a free throw.
Oh, man.
His first, team's first.
Look at this move here. Larry Johnson, he obviously was holding back all regular season because he's exploding to the basket. A lot of people had wrote Larry Johnson off, just said he couldn't explode like he used to. Well, he's doing it. He did it in the Charlotte series, and he's doing it again tonight.
Offensively, above 60% from the field in the 4 games. And another whistle. Illegal defense is called for the second time against New York.
And what Charles Oakley is saying is that there was a ball fake. I'm surprised that they called that because I thought it was a ball fake there.
John Crotty, who's on the floor, will go to the free throw line.
You can go across if it's a ball fake and get back.
Timeout.
That time has been called. Miami had cut a 10-point deficit in half, but now they trail by 9. Miami coach Pat Riley honored as Coach of the Year when we came on the air tonight. He, of course, won that honor in 1993 with the Knicks and had previously won it in Los Angeles. 140 playoff victories.
Won a lot of games. 3rd of all time. That's pretty good. 3rd time winning this, brother. And you look at the guys, Dave Cowan 2nd, Jerry Sloan 3rd. Those are pretty good basketball players, too, right there.
Danny Ainge got a vote.
He should have.
Yeah,
he should have. This year, a lot of guys should have got a vote, and I'm sure that one vote for Danny was from the TNT crew.
32-23 in this one. Under 10 to go, first half. Mourning works on Buck Williams. Finds Ike Austin in the lane. Foul is called on Charlie Ward. His first. And the first of the period. .951 to go, 32-23. Let's check the group now. As signals change, you know what that means?
That's a triangle. That ball will come to John Crotty. And back to Alonzo. is where they want to go.
And Middleton calls this one on Larry Johnson.
See, now, Miami's down 32-23 right now, but what they're doing, they aren't causing fouls. Alonzo has been great not getting fouls. They're driving the ball a little bit more than they did in game one, and they're hoping the Knicks get in foul trouble. The problem with the Knicks, they have so many guys that they can throw in at you.
Here's Crotty guarded by Ward, and a travel call on John Crotty. 5 turnovers for Miami.
And that's unusual because this is a team that does not turn the ball over a whole bunch.
New York protecting the ball in the first half tonight.
And that's unusual.
Yes. This starts. Marley has it. Pick and roll with Johnson. Rotation as Austin comes out.
Yeah, you can see the ball going back again to the picker.
Larry Johnson in the lane, fade away, no. Rebound, Alonzo Mourning.
And that's great D by Isaac Austin.
6 rebounds for Mourning. Isaac Austin got it.
That's big. If they can get him going down on the post, and that gives them 2 post-up players.
Now Ward for the Knicks. Lead is 7 at the 9-minute mark. Underneath to Buck Williams. No. Marley clears it. Crotty wants to push the issue. Marley looks for Mourning. Goes back to Crotty. They find Mourning and get 2 more.
That's a great pass by John Crotty. He saw Buck Williams running. They swung the ball to Crotty. He threw it over top. That's a really nice pass, too.
Mourning has hit his last 3 shots. He has played every minute thus far of the first half.
And he is really working. You think it's tough to score in the NBA? Look at Alonzo here. You have to work to score in this league, especially when it's against the Knicks.
And let's check in with Brian Burwell.
Pat Riley has to be thrilled right now because that's exactly what he talked about in his previous timeout, and he's gotten points out of the low post in the last 2 trips. He told both Alonzo and Ike Austin that that's what he wanted them to do, and he got it from him. He didn't have to wait for the guards to go to the boards. Back to you guys.
All right, Brian. Yeah, and I think that's key what Brian is saying. Pat Riley wants his 3-point shooters to shoot. Well, the way you get your 3-point shooters to shoot is having a post threat. And if it's Alonzo every time, you can adjust. If you got 2 guys like the Knicks with Larry Johnson and Patrick Ewing, it makes it a lot more difficult.
Ewing, Starks, Charlie Ward, Oakley, and Larry Johnson now for the Knicks. Ike Austin and Mourning both on the floor for Miami. So it's a large lineup. Austin. Johnson. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a nice shot. And once again, Larry Johnson set the pick. Larry Johnson gets the shot. So if you're setting the pick, you want to set a great pick because you'll get a shot.
Back to a 7-point margin as we near 8:05 remaining first half. Crotty looks for Mashburn. Mourning and Mashburn. Tim Hardaway's back on the floor. And a foul is going to be called on Larry Johnson. That's his 3rd. So the first man in foul trouble, Johnson of the Knicks.
And who do you bring in? Allen Houston.
Not a bad substitute.
I tell you, they are so deep. Look here, you can see it. And basically, that's the hand check foul. He got his hand in there to reach, and he touched body. That's an automatic foul now.
Larry Johnson gets a rest with 3 fouls, 7 points, and 2 assists thus far. Crotty finds Hardaway, the shot, and a foul called.
Foul number 3.
John Starks gets this one.
Yeah, John Starks and Tim Hardaway are going at it. John Starks is a great off-ball defender. He really can stay with guys curling off picks, and he was all over Tim Hardaway that time. Maybe too close.
Offensive foul call
on Alonzo Mourning, and Charlie Ward has just went to acting school because that might have been the best flop of the year right there.
Ward forces Mourning into his first foul of the night. The lead is 7. Here's Starks. Loose ball picked up by Charlie Ward. Crotty has Ward. Houston off the screen set by Ewing. Mourning with his 7th rebound. Taken away by Starks. Finds Houston. Foul on Hardaway.
Team foul number 10, Tim Hardaway. His first, team second.
I want you to watch here. The first time Alonzo Mourning gets in the right spot, he draws the foul. The second time, I want you to watch it this time. Gets there. I would say Alonzo did something wrong, but he really didn't. That was a great job by Charlie Ward. Wow. I was waiting to see a penalty flag.
P.J. Brown will check in for Mourning.
That's a nice substitution by Pat Riley. You can see Alonzo Mourning right now talking to himself a little bit. He senses that he's going to get him out of the game to get him to relax a little bit, and he's going to put him right back in.
36-27 with 7:05 to go in the half. Here's Hardaway. Mashburn loses control and then fights to get it back and draws the foul. Or is it Austin, not Mashburn? Time call.
They just didn't make the shot. What you want me to say?
Now let's check in with Brian Burwell.
Fellas, we were talking before the game about watching Alonzo's emotions, and after that inbounds pass turnover by Tim Hardaway, Alonzo really started yelling at him. Pat Riley noticed that, immediately yanked him out of the game. Back to you, Vern.
All right, Brian.
Coach of the year, dude. They noticed it.
Alonzo Mourning with 5 turnovers, and that air ball draws a foul underneath. P.J. Brown picks up his 3rd foul.
I'll tell you what, right now the Knicks are starting to do it again. They're starting to get the loose balls, unforced errors. They're coming up with balls. They're flopping. They're back in the game. They're not playing a great offensive game, the Knicks aren't, but yet they're up 9 points by doing all the little things, and that's what Pat Riley's team has to do. And I really think they're having a tough time scoring points, Miami. The Knicks defense is really good, but they need dribble penetration. They need to get this game in an up-tempo fashion and find three-point shooters.
P.J. Brown is going to get a rest, and Pat Riley puts Deshaun Leonard back on the floor. So he's going to have Hardaway, Crotty, and Deshaun Leonard.
And Mashburn, he's going small, and he's going to try to change the tempo of this game. Listen, both teams are great. So if you go to a half court, it's tough to score in either one. The Knicks have more scores, so they can still score in a half court offense. The Miami Heat in half court against this Knicks defense, they're having a tough time scoring buckets.
Hardaway in the post, guarded by Starks. Now he comes out. 5 on the shot clock. There's the crossover. The tip. Off John Starks, it will be Miami's ball.
And see, what Pat Riley is doing is what Orlando did to Miami in the first round. They're going small, and Riley's going to say, now, Jeff Van Gundy, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay big, or are you going to go small with him? Well, Van Gundy's going to stay big until something happens. He's going to give the ball to Patrick Ewing and say, I'm going to show you what big can do.
So it's Hardaway, Mashburn, Crotty, and Deshaun Leonard, along with Isaac Austin. Hardaway finds Crotty. That's for 3.
And it's working. That's exactly why they did this. Spread the floor, dribble penetration. Let's get our three-point shooters off.
Ike Austin will guard Ewing.
And it's no secret, Van Gundy is standing up yelling 5.
There it is. Out of bounds, off Oakley. Miami ball.
Drive and kick is what they want to do now. Change the tempo of this game. Get three-point shots. Here's another one.
Crotty, Starks, got in the passing lane, knocked it out of bounds. But it went off a Miami player.
And that's too bad because he had 2 guys wide open.
Miami with 9 turnovers. New York with only 3. Lead is 7, 5.5 to go in the half. Starks to Charlie Ward. They look for Ewing again. Allen Houston. Rebound for Deshaun Leonard. Gets it to Hardaway. Ward anticipating the pass over to Leonard, knocks it out of bounds.
And I tell you what, since they've gone small, there's only been a 2-point advantage, but they have changed the tempo of the game. Now you got Alonzo Mourning back in the game. He's calmed down a little bit. You still got the 3 guards. They're going to spread the floor, have the 2 big guys, Austin and Mourning, down on the post, and try to get some threes.
Roddy for Austin. There's Alonzo Mourning. Back to Crotty for 3. In and out. Nice job by Austin to keep it alive. Mourning, yes! How about the effort from Ike Austin?
Oh, Ike Austin is playing a nice floor game. He's not scoring a lot of points. Nice floor game, and it's good to see Alonzo come back in under control and play with his emotions in a good way. I mean, look at Ike Austin just fighting, keeping the ball alive, and that's what allowed this 3-point play opportunity.
Foul on Ewing, his second. Something you don't see a lot. Alonzo smiling during the game.
It's not one that'll last long, I can tell you that.
That one's out of bounds. Off Chris Childs. Mourning's free throw woes continue. He's 2 of 5. Knicks call timeout. 4:56 to go first half. The margin is 5. 4 on TNT Monday night, and then if necessary back to Miami on Wednesday, and subsequent games at New York and at Miami. I'm interested in Bashan Leonard's report on what Riley said. You think that Riley's one of the great speech makers?
Oh, he's the best. I told you, playing with him in 82 speeches in the 82 years, season, 82 games, he has 75 great ones. That's pretty good average.
Boy, is it ever. Crotty. Penetration goes by Ewing, but Ewing knocks it down. Here comes Chris Childs. 5-point game, 4:35 to go first half. Crotty picks up Childs. There's Ewing. Loose ball. Saved by John Starks. Childs for 3 off the mark. Oakley grabs the rebound, finds Ewing. Mourning did a fine defensive job there.
He really did. And Patrick Ewing, instead of trying to score, tried to draw the foul.
Now Alonzo Mourning is guarded by Ewing. In the lane, no. Out of bounds. Miami ball. Let's check in with Brian Burwell.
Was talking about the Miami huddle, and no surprise, Pat Riley said, we're going to ride that low post until we can't get anything else out of it. Back to you, guys.
All right, Brian.
You should milk it. If it's working, go to it.
Austin puts it in the hands of Hardaway. Crotty spots up for 3. Takes Childs off the dribble and dishes to Austin, in and out. And Oakley, loose ball foul. On Oakley, his 3rd.
Oh, can't believe it. I tell you what, they are banging down low. Wow, that's a tough call to get right there on Charles Oakley. If you look at it, it looked like Alonzo was on his back. And everything turns around. In last game, Alonzo got some tough calls.
Buck Williams hurries back on the floor as Oakley joins Larry Johnson on the bench with 3 fouls. And a sense of disbelief, I think.
Yeah, that's when you see guys smiling like that, all you can do is laugh at times. And Alonzo goes up and misses the free throw.
Tell you what, he's getting into Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Dudley territory now.
He's approaching that area. And the sad thing is Alonzo Mourning is a really nice shooter. He can really shoot the basketball, and he's struggling from the free throw line. The mind is unbelievable.
Gets 1 of 2 at this trip. And the lead is 4. The largest lead of the night has been 10 a couple of times by New York. Ward and Childs on the floor. Oakley battles Mourning. Goes baseline, short. Mourning with another rebound.
That's a nice job, and that's the first time I thought Patrick Ewing was patient offensively. I think he's been rushing this entire first quarter, or first half.
Alonzo Mourning with 9 rebounds. And that one over Mourning's head. Buck Williams How about Ike Austin defensively? Hardaway off the dribble. Finds Mourning. He's fouled again.
And Vern, how about Pat Riley? Because the minute he went small is when this game changed.
Mourning stays down.
You can see here what happened. Looks like somebody, either Patrick Ewing pushed him in the back when he was going up.
The foul was on Ewing. So Herb Williams is going to make his first appearance of the playoffs now.
You know, and Herb Williams was the guy that played in my era. Not that long ago, Vern.
No, it wasn't.
I tell you what, he's another guy. Now, this is your 12th man coming in the basketball game for the Knicks. Most teams would love to have him as their backup center.
Patrick asked for the raucous reception, and he gets it.
Knicks, to me, are playing a little bit too much with the crowd. They need to play basketball. Larry Johnson is out in the crowd. You look at the game right now, you got a 2-point basketball game. Van
Gundy's got 3 stars on the bench with 3 fouls. Ewing, Oakley, Johnson. The lead is 2. Buck Williams battles Mourning. Sets the screen for Allen Houston, who has Bashawn Leonard guarding him. Little isolation for Allen Houston. No. Tipped into the hands of Bashawn Leonard. A chance to tie or take the lead. That's for the lead. An 11-0 run. Williams gets it back outside. Giles, no.
Tell you what, that is a big move by Chris Childs. That's a great leadership point guard move, going to the hole strong and making somebody foul him. That's how you play. Watch this right here. He sees Alonzo Mourning and Ike Austin, and he challenges them and goes right in there.
At the other end, as Childs gets ready to shoot the free throw, here's the big three-pointer from Hardaway. An 11-0 run. Ike Austin will get a rest. Mashburn on.
And Pat Riley has found the right button. He went small. And small has changed the tempo of this game. The minute he did it, the whole tempo of the game, the energy of the Miami Heat has picked up. And he just took Ike Austin out and put Mashburn in. He's going even smaller now. He's finally pushed the right button, and it's working.
Here comes Crotty. That ends an 11-point unanswered run for Miami. Tied at 38 with 2:10 to go in the half. Hardaway. Oh, boy! Oh, wow! Oh, wow!
I mean, this is your creator. And that's creative.
Heat lead by 2. Underneath for Buck Williams. Back out to Childs. Crotty makes the run at him. Off the dribble. Childs puts up the jumper. Back to a 40-40 tie.
See, I think going small made them aggressive again. And you know what it did to the Knicks, who I thought was aggressive? It slowed them down because all of a sudden all they wanted to do is post the ball up. They need to get back into the up-tempo game themselves.
Here comes Childs. Stripped. Here comes Bashawn Leonard. Hardaway has it. Waits, takes the jumper. No. Rebound, Mashburn. And a fresh 24. Hardaway wants another one.
He has a mismatch right now. Oh, wow.
He's also got 20 in the first half.
That's their wild card.
Buck Williams guarded by Mourning.
See, the Knicks are still trying to post up and go power. The small lineup is working. Sometimes you have to go small yourself.
Oh, wow. A 5-point lead. That equals the largest Miami lead of the ball game. They jumped out 6-1. Houston kicks it to Childs. New York, one of its last 10. Herb Williams into the hands of Allen Houston. The switch. Now Mashburn. One on the shot clock. Got it to go.
Oh, big shot. Big shot. Quiets the crowd.
Allen Houston, though, only 2 of 9 in the half. Hardaway. Oh! How's that for a punctuation point?
Oh, my. Look at Tim Hardaway. He has a clear out here on Buck Williams. Is he going to drive it? No. He's going to shoot the 3.
Next
Dribble,
play.
penetration, creating. And the last play, we saw that you knew he was going to take this shot, and you knew he was going to take the 3-point shot.
At the half, the Heat go from 10 down to 6 up. Benches. Tim Hardaway, 28 touches, 6 drives, 9 jumpers. He hit the last 13 points of the half.
Yeah, and an open floor game for Tim Hardaway is dangerous for the opponent. You remember him in Golden State when they just run, gun, play that type of basketball. He was great. He's great in any style, but that's his best. That's best suited for him. You know, Van Gundy is right. I think in that time when they went small Miami guys were quicker. They were smaller, and that's why they got to the loose balls.
You saw the foul graphic. Oakley still complaining about his 3rd foul. He and Ewing and Larry Johnson are on the floor with Chris Childs and with Allen Houston. Houston only 2 of 9 in the first half. Ewing 3 for 10. Here's Patrick Ewing. P.J. Brown plays him with 3 fouls. Ewing puts it up right away. And the rebound by Larry Johnson. The putback is good.
Yeah, Larry Johnson has a size advantage over Jamal Mashburn. I think Patrick Ewing has probably taken 2 patient shots this game. He is really rushing the shots because he has that advantage. He needs to be patient, take his time, and he's going to get those same shots.
Oakley goes for it. Mourning tries to save it. Wrestling match with Larry Johnson. Foul's going to be on Mourning.
And this is why he's on, and we're talking P.J. Brown on the all-defensive team. Look where he has Patrick Ewing out, and that's with the front. Patrick catches the ball, he gets back behind him, and he forces him into a tough shot. That's a nice shot.
Alonzo Mourning quickly picks up his 2nd. That's 6 turnovers for Mourning now tonight. Childs guarded by Hardaway. And Allen Houston anticipated Ewing moving to his left. He didn't do it.
Yeah, that's where the quarterback and the receiver mixed up directions there, and you get a turnover.
It's been a dry spell for Patrick Ewing. The lead is 4. P.J. Brown looks for Mourning. Oakley guards him. Nice move. Oh, boy. Ewing came to help, but there wasn't much he could do.
Yeah, but that was too easy, and that's unusual for Charles Oakley. He let him catch the ball in the paint, let him spin, and there's nothing Patrick Ewing could do about it. He's lucky he didn't get a foul.
Now Houston, guarded by P.J. Brown, who hurries back to get back on Ewing.
You can see New York's strategy early is to try to get Patrick Ewing off.
Offensive foul called on Ewing, his 4th.
And you can see what he does. He knocks P.J. Brown's hand off right there, and that's the foul. You cannot do that. And look at this. Look where Alonzo Mourning catches the ball, easy spin. Either Charles Oakley was waiting for a trap, or he just played awful defense on that last set.
A quick 4th on Ewing sends him to the bench. Buck Williams back on the floor. And it comes less than 2 minutes into the 3rd quarter.
And New York better be very careful right here. or they can get blown out of this game.
Mashburn scoreless thus far in the ball game. Illegal defense is called against the Knicks. That's the third call tonight for the technical coming.
And this is going to be really interesting with Patrick Ewing out of the game now, where your offense will come from, because now you only have one real post-up player. Larry Johnson will be your guy. You might go to Buck Williams a little bit, but I think Allen Houston is going to have to be your guy to score some points. It might be a blessing in disguise, because now the Knicks might do what the Heat did in the second quarter and start going small and use their quickness.
26 points tonight for Tim Hardaway.
And he really talked about letting him get off, letting him, if the low post game was not working, let's spread the court and let him dominate the game with his quickness. He's doing that.
Deshaun Leonard back to P.J. Brown. Here's Mourning with the jumper. 18 feet, 20 feet. Doesn't matter.
Isn't it amazing? He can make that shot. You put him on the free throw line, and there's a very good chance he won't make it. That's amazing.
9:40 to go in the third. The lead is 9. Oakley, Johnson. P.J. Brown comes to help. Out of bounds, turnover.
Oh, wow. You know, Oakley is good for one or two of those a game. Wild pass. That's why there was no expression on Jeff Van Gundy. He's used to it.
5 New York possessions in the half. They've turned it over 3 times. 9:25 to go, third quarter. Mashburn. Tipped out to Chris Giles. Buck Williams hurries down to his right. P.J. Brown. Here's Mashburn at the other end. Houston back, fouls him. Basket count. She'll go to the free throw line.
That was 2 bad sequences for the Knicks. First, Chris Giles, all he had to do was be a little bit more patient. He had Buck Williams right behind him, who would have gotten a layup if he had just been patient. Instead, he took the shot. And then down here, if you're going to foul a guy, he cannot be allowed to make the shot.
Double-digit lead for the Miami Heat. They're up by 11. Pretty well. I think she wins. And at the line, Jamal Mashburn.
We're talking about the difference in game 1 and 2. Patrick Ewing is doing his best Alonzo Mourning impersonation in this game. He's been in foul trouble all game and rushing shots.
Patrick on the bench with his 4th foul. It came less than 2 minutes into the third quarter. Larry Johnson. Allen Houston. Deshaun Leonard guards him. Shot clock at 6. Giles kicks it out to Oakley. Johnson is fouled by Mashburn. Before the foul, 3-second violation.
And that's because Larry Johnson should have taken that shot. He's wide open. You got to take it. Rebounders are trying to get position because they're anticipating the shot. He never took it. 3-second violation. They have to get the ball to Allen Houston. Right now, the low post game is not working. Patrick Ewing is not in the game. Allen Houston is the guy who has to carry this team until Patrick Ewing comes in.
Leonard gets it in the hands of Mashburn. 12-point lead, 8:35 to go third quarter. Mourning. Jump hook, no. Rebound. Larry Johnson. Here comes Allen Houston. Deshaun Leonard picks him up. And the foul will be called on Deshaun Leonard.
And that's what they have to do.
There's some jawing going on.
And look at this defense here. Charles Oakley always gets to the spot, but that's still a point-blank look for Alonzo. Charles Oakley and Larry Johnson getting into it with P.J. Brown and Mashburn and Alonzo. And it's not a bad thing. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but it's not a bad thing for the Knicks to do. They need to change the rhythm of this game somehow, and maybe this will work for them.
The conversation might do it.
Yeah, right now they're in trouble.
On the Heat, P.J. Brown.
Technical foul called on P.J. Brown and a technical on Oakley. So we've got the double T. And Houston at the free throw line.
See, they would go to the ISO with Allen Houston, and what that's going to do, if he gets on a row, and he just got fouled, so he gets 2 free throws. If he gets on a row, then the Heat has to make an adjustment or a decision on should they trap him, and that'll get the other guy's offense. If you can't get double teams with post-up, you get double teams with ISOs, and that's what Allen Houston has to do for the Knicks.
Mashburn now guarded by Larry Johnson. The lead is 10. 8:05 to go, third quarter. They kick it out to Hardaway. Takes the 3. Mashburn, nice job of tipping the ball to himself. Hardaway with a glance back at Pat Riley. There's the dribble penetration. And it's in and out from Deshaun Leonard.
Boy, that's the look he wanted, too, Vern. That is the look he's been waiting for.
0 for 3 on threes from Deshaun Leonard. 0 for 6 the other night. Mashburn stole that one. Deshaun Leonard drives it, puts it up, rejected. Allen Houston comes the other way. Hardaway gets back. Oakley now. Larry Johnson guarded by Mashburn.
And this is the post-up option for him right here.
Foul is on Mashburn. Jeff Van Gundy with
His second team
a pensive look. 5 turnovers.
Yeah, 5 turnovers and probably 4 unforced turnovers. But that's the Knicks, and he understands that. And I've said it before, that the Knicks are just not a great passing basketball team. They don't have a lot of great passes. Patrick Ewing is not a great passer. Buck Williams is not. Charlie Ward is, and so is Larry Johnson. And after that, you really don't have guys who are great ball handlers.
Doubleheader again tonight. The Rockets and the Sonics from Seattle coming up with Game 3. That series is tied a game apiece. And that will follow the conclusion of this one. We have 7:10 to go, third quarter.
Yeah, the Knicks are trying to inch back in this game, and since that little technical foul, that has changed this rhythm a little bit back in their favor.
Lead is 8. Morning guarded by Buck Williams. From behind, there was Chris Giles with the steal. Giles kicks it out to Allen Houston. Got it! That's on the line. It was 2.
And you better get a time. Yep, you better get a timeout right now, because since that technical foul, you can see the little shift. I don't know if Charles Oakley did that on purpose, but it's working right now.
Giles at both ends. He made the steal. He found Allen Houston for the jumper.
And he was patient that time. At first, he was about to try to penetrate. Instead, he took his time. And you find Allen Houston at all costs on any break. That's the guy you should have your eyes set on if you're a point guard.
And I'm sure you noticed that Patrick Ewing led the cheers. He was the first one off the bench.
Yeah, because he wants to get back in this game down by 5 or down by 2 or up. He doesn't want to get back in. You're down by 12.
Well, this weekend, join NBC for more NBA playoff action. Coverage gets underway Saturday at 12:30 with Showtime. Then in the first game of a doubleheader, the Hawks will host the Bulls in Game 3 of their semifinal series. Following that, the Lakers and the Jazz do battle at the Forum. The NBA playoffs continue this weekend on NBC. And Doc and I will be with you Monday night from New York, Game 4 of this series. I was chatting with Marv Alberts, the outstanding NBC broadcaster who also does the Knicks. He's doing double duty. He's here tonight and then in Atlanta tomorrow, in part because another outstanding broadcaster, Al Troutwig, just lost his father. And our condolences to the Troutwig family.
I tell you, we talked about the Knicks. The difference between the Knicks this year and last year is Patrick Ewing gets in foul trouble last year. This game is over. This year, you got some more offensive options, and the 2 options are Larry Johnson and Allen Houston.
Now they get it in hand of Hardaway. Chris Giles. Boy, he's played so much better tonight than he did in Game 1. Leonard finds P.J. Brown. Oakley got there in time to alter the shot. Had a chance to get it to 4, maybe 3. And the crowd getting a little restless here in Miami now.
Yeah, they sense it also.
Giles. Here comes Houston, followed by Leonard. He got another one. An 8-0 run.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a Dan Marley come in this game very soon.
Allen Houston has gotten the last 2 buckets over Bashawn Leonard. Hardaway. Nope. Rebound Childs. Here come the Knicks with 5:40 to go third quarter. Buck Williams measures it. Saved by the Knicks. Chris Childs for 3. Here they come. It's a 1-point game. Allen Houston with 15 in this ball game.
Yeah, you know what people and what Buck Williams is saying. People sometimes mistake a guy who is quiet with a guy with no heart. He's a quiet, emotionless player, but he has heart and he has big game, and you're seeing it right now. He has just caused 2 timeouts with his play by himself.
Allen Houston was the star of the victory in game 1. And he's having his way with Bashawn Leonard again tonight. Now, Askins has come in the ball game.
Yeah, and he's also caused an offensive player to leave the floor, and they had to put in a defensive player in HeatEastern to try to slow down Allen Houston, who I thought did the best job on him in game 1.
Buck Williams fronts Mourning, and Marshburn threw it right to it. Another Miami turnover. Here's Oakley, and the Knicks are back on top.
With Patrick Ewing on the floor, and that needs to be noted. Patrick Ewing goes out, and now the Knicks are +9 since he's been out of the game.
A 13-0 Knick run. That ends the drought for Miami as Hardaway gets it.
Well, they had trouble scoring. You give the ball to the guy who can create offense. Tim Hardaway all by himself.
Chris Childs. Here comes Houston off the screen set by Williams.
Boy, Allen Houston wanted the ball. He was not happy he didn't get the ball right there.
Buck Williams puts it up left-handed, and P.J. Brown clears it for Miami.
And Vern, I got to agree. You have to see that. The guy is on fire. You get him the basketball.
Hardaway. Nope. Brown with the offensive board, and a foul is called. If it's Oakley, it's his 4th. Let's see. It might be Johnson, and if it is, it's his 4th. It's Larry Johnson.
And you know what's really funny right now? Charles Oakley told Hugh Hollins to give it to Larry Johnson because he didn't know Larry Johnson had 3 fouls. You can see it right when give it to Larry because he could have given it to either guy. They both fouled him. And that's when Oakley turned around and turned to Larry and said, "I didn't know." You can see him laughing.
Even Hugh Hollins had a smile on that one. P.J. Brown misfires on the free throw. Time to look at tonight's GMC scoreboard. 58-57 the score here. P.J. Brown with 1 more free throw. Last night, Atlanta knocks off Chicago, and the Lakers took Utah. And later tonight, Seattle and Houston, that series tied a game apiece.
Yeah, I'm going to go watch that one somewhere.
Where?
Club Deuce.
We find a spot last night to watch the game, didn't we? Here's Oakley. Got it.
Wow. Maybe that was a good move, giving Larry Johnson that 4th foul.
Tied at 59. They're fronting Mourning again. Tries to set the screen for Hardaway and get loose. Now Buck Williams on the switch. Mourning. Illegal defense. I think they got John Starks. That's the 4th one they called tonight. Technical foul. Oh, wow. So they'll shoot a technical on the illegal defense and a technical on the technical. And let's check in with Brian Burwell.
In that last Miami timeout, Pat Riley did very little X's and O's. He was very upset about all the easy shots that Miami was giving up to New York, and I'm not surprised that he's already gone to that small lineup again. Back to you, Vern.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, the difference is now, though, Brian and Vern, is that the Knicks are already small. Patrick Ewing gets in foul trouble, and the Knicks kind of use Miami's own poison. They went small first.
Pat Riley thought the same thing I did, that a technical foul had been called in addition to the illegal defense technical. That's what he was just asking Hugh Hollins. There was no technical foul other than the illegal defense.
Yeah, I think Hugh Hollins showed the technical sign so late that it looked like it.
Morning. Help comes from Oakley. He goes baseline, and Buck Williams is called for the foul.
Boy, I tell you what.
That sends Van Gundy into a backward sprint.
Yeah, this is a physical war right here. And the thing here, you can call a foul at any point. And I thought he was fouled, and I think that was a very good call. Yeah, he was fouled the whole play, really.
Alonzo Mourning back at the free throw line. He is 5 of 9 tonight. Really something how he has struggled not only in the playoffs but this year. He's 75% of career.
Yeah, I think he's changed his free throw style. I remember he would wipe the sweat off his head first before he shot. He did all kinds of things. Now he's doing this today. He's shooting the ball a lot quicker than he did in game 1. So maybe the quicker rhythm is helping him shoot the basketball.
Patrick Ewing, Doc, sat down with his 4th foul with 10:18 to go in the 3rd quarter, and Mourning has scored only 4 points since then.
It reverts from game 1. When Alonzo went out, Patrick couldn't score. Sometimes you get a little over anxious. Starks.
Not quite there.
And the mistake here is Allen Houston was rolling, and he has not touched the ball since Pat Riley called the timeout.
Buck Williams with the rebound on the Hardaway miss. A 3-point Miami lead. Houston on the right side, guarded by Mashburn. Here's Oakley with Marley guarding him. And Oakley's going to go to the line. Marley's first. And the 4th team foul.
Yeah, and it's funny. You see Charles Oakley posting up, and he did have a big size advantage. I think the Knicks are really making a mistake not getting the ball to Allen Houston, and Allen Houston knows it.
Patrick Ewing is up yelling at his teammates.
And you know what he's saying? I can't repeat exactly what he's saying, but he's pointing at Allen Houston, and he's yelling at Starks and Childs, get him the ball.
The adjective is what's missing.
Yeah, I can't do it now. It's not that big of a cable.
One-point game.
How about that for a show of confidence from your leader? If you're Allen Houston, that would make you real happy.
Allen Houston has not shot the ball in the last 3.5 minutes. Here's Hardaway. Hardaway for 3. Got it! Boy, he's hit some big shots tonight.
He's hit some big shots all year. 32 points.
Including a streak of 13 in a row at the end of the first half. Back to a 4-point margin. Chris Childs with an answer.
And Chris Childs has had a nice floor game tonight. It's funny, Jeff Van Gundy said the one thing he loves about his guards, if Chris Childs plays poorly, we have Charlie Ward. One of the two usually plays well.
Mashburn tells Starks gets back up. Get back up. Double comes from Oakley. Here's Marley for 3.
And you know he's making that.
Give him that kind of look before.
That type of player with that type of look, the ball's going in.
7 of 14 from 3-point range tonight. Houston, no. Tipped out and saved by Childs. 1:30 to go, 3rd quarter.
Oh, wow.
Ouch. Mourning just got his 3rd foul.
Yeah, and he was so late, he probably should have allowed that dunk. I won't say that very often, but on that one, he was just, watch how late he is. There was nothing he could do. On that one, you just stay out of the way.
Isaac Austin back in now as Alonzo Mourning goes to the bench with his 3rd. Patrick Ewing is still coaching.
He is. I mean, he just yelled, grabbed Allen Houston, pointed at Charles Oakley, and Gundy's pointing, and he keeps saying the same thing. ISO, get him the ball. You know, that last shot was a catch and shoot. He can do that, but that's not his game.
Nice job by Ike Austin to save it for Miami.
Now on the other end, Tim Hardaway's your guy. Tim Hardaway's the guy you want to ISO and give some looks to.
Screen from Austin. Hardaway brings it back outside. Probes. Dishes to Austin. Starks steals it. At the other end, here's a touch pass to Allen Houston.
That's a nice play. That is a nice play, nice look up by John Starks.
Most of this accomplished by New York with Ewing sitting with 4 fouls. Mashburn. Marley, foul on Starks.
Next foul for
Second foul on Starks.
Yeah, look at this. You always should look up court. That's what happens. Keith Askins gets back into play, and nice find by Allen Houston. You always want to get your shooter shots, even if they're layups.
Marley's going to go to the free throw line. Ewing will continue to coach. He's been active on that bench.
Hey, Larry Bird's the coach. Patrick Ewing might want to coach now.
back in the game.
How about you?
I like you, Bird.
Who replaces Jim
Keep talking to me. Hardaway's going to get a rest. And a nice hand as he goes to the bench.
Yeah, this is the only time Riley is looking at the clock. 44.1 seconds left. The Knicks are going to have the ball for half of that at least. So this is a good time to give Tim Hardaway a blow.
Final 40 seconds, third quarter. Crotty has Giles. Askins has Starks. Allen Houston now guarded by Mashburn.
And this is the type of look that Allen Houston wants right here.
Starks puts it up. No. Buck Williams way up in the air. Saved again, this time by Askins. 15 left in the quarter. John Crotty. Mashburn. Oh, my goodness. And Chris Giles will end the quarter. We've reached the end of 3, and Mashburn puts it on the floor. The Knicks fight back. Tim Hardaway had 7 in the quarter. He's got 32. But a 13-0 New York Knicks run got them back into the ball game. As we head to the 4th, they trail by 1. From the Atlantic Ocean, where we get set for the 4th quarter. Vern Lundquist, Doc Rivers, Brian Burwell. And with Patrick Ewing sitting for 10.5 minutes, the Knicks still closed the gap by 5.
Yeah, they did, and they did it with going small. They changed. It was a role reversal from the second to the third. The Knicks went small, and Jeff Van Gundy's going to stay with that, see how long he can get away with it.
Got Chris Giles, John Starks, Allen Houston, along with Buck Williams and Charles Oakley on the floor. Here's Ike Austin, John Crotty, Mourning back with 3 fouls. That's off the backboard to Mike Austin.
I tell you what, Buck Williams and Alonzo Mourning are going to war down there. Buck Williams is fighting him for every inch of the court. And that's why Buck Williams is a great defensive player. He understands you play defense before the guy catches the ball, not afterwards.
Starks. Buck Williams.
Playing big minutes.
John Starks was 1 for 8 in the first game. He's 1 for 6 tonight. Oakley in and out. Mourning is fouled from behind by Buck Williams. That's the 3rd foul on Buck Williams, and we'll check in with Brian Burwell.
Starks may be 1 for 6, but they're going to try to get him off. And that last time out, they were running plays, designing plays for him to try to get into that offense. Back to you guys.
Yeah, he's really struggling, and he's the type of guy that will press. So Van Gundy recognizes that he's going to try to get him some buckets to get him to relax a little bit. He's on the borderline again right now, going the other way.
Marley, tough shot, not there. Giles clears it. Comes up the right side, guarded by Crotty. And the screen set by Oakley. Chris Giles dishes outside to Starks. Still not there for John.
Yeah, and that's the look he wanted. That was nice dribble penetration by Giles. He gets the ball to Starks in the place where he wants the ball.
Jeff Van Gundy's going to make a change. He's going to bring Charlie Ward in, I'm sure, for John Starks. Mourning. Oakley guards him, 5 on the shot clock. Mourning. Spin move in the lane, foul call. And here comes Charlie Ward, and he'll be accompanied by Tim Hardaway for Miami.
Childs foul. Knicks foul number 1, Chris Childs, his third, team second.
It's going to be for Childs.
Yeah, I think he's going to try to get Charlie Ward in the game to see if he can get guys off. I think Chris Childs is a better guy at scoring points at the point guard position. Charlie Ward's a better guy at the point of getting other guys off, and maybe that's one of the reasons he's bringing them in right now.
And Patrick Ewing getting ready to come back in.
Yeah, Jeff is saying enough of this experiment. I'm going with my man.
Morning. Patrick Ewing plays with 4 fouls, and he got a long rest in the second half.
Yeah, and Buck Williams did a fantastic job. He didn't score a lot of points, but he played a nice floor game. You know, a floor game for a big man never shows up in the stats. You don't see anything. He did get the rebounds, but he played a great floor game for the Knicks.
Alonzo Mourning, 8 of 13 from the free throw line. The lead is 2 as we near the 10-minute mark. Charlie Ward, Allen Houston, John Starks, Ewing, and Oakland. Ewing, no. Patrick Ewing, 3 of 12 tonight. Nice pass from Crotty underneath. Marley. Back to Crotty. Here's Dan Marley and Alonzo Mourning. Good ball movement.
Yeah, he'll make that all day. I think one of the things they should do is get someone to pass it to him from the free throw line, and he would be deadly.
Introduce a brand new concept. Underneath, no. And Mourning blocks Oakley. That's his 4th. Crotty, Hardaway wants it. Charlie Ward has John Crotty, and Starks guards Hardaway. Pick and roll leaves Austin open. Here comes New York. They're down by 4 with 9 to go in regulation. Air ball. Loose ball.
Oh, wow.
22nd timeout in New York.
Oh, wow. What a bad timing for that timeout. You had Allen Houston wide open and John Starks. Look at Alonzo Mourning and effort. He's an effort player, and sometimes that gets him in trouble. Tonight, it's only put the Knicks in trouble. He's been fantastic. Yeah, I think it's been an exact opposite game of game 1. Alonzo Mourning has been the aggressor, taking it to Patrick Ewing, taking it to the Knicks, and making jump shots, doing it in every way. He scored points tonight. By scoring points, I think he can get other guys involved. But that's the way he's dominated this game, in my opinion, with the 4 block shots and the 12 rebounds.
Patrick Ewing limited to 20 minutes because of the fouls. 8:47 to go in regulation. Charlie Ward guarded by Crotty. Ward up and under, nope. Austin saves it for Miami. And finds Dan Marley, who wasn't expecting the ball.
No, he was not. They're lucky he turned around.
8:25 to go in regulation. Marley, Hardaway. Kicks it out for Crotty. 4 on the shot clock. It's in the hands of Ike Austin. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
But you know what, Parker? That's the best time to shoot a ball as a player, when you know you have to shoot it. He looked up and saw 1 second. There was nothing to lose, no pressure. He had to shoot the ball.
Isaac Austin, the most improved player in the NBA, so voted last week. Last year, he was playing for Tuborg Izmir in Turkey.
I can't even pronounce it.
It has something to do with an ale. Watch the shot from Ike Austin as the shot clock was expiring.
Look at him looking at the clock right now. He sees the clock and he says, hey, I'm just going to shoot it. And it goes in. He's improved, but he hasn't improved that much.
George Mirasan won that award last year. Dana Barros in 95. Here's Ewing at the free throw line.
Oh, I tell you what, Patrick Ewing is so out of rhythm right now. It's unbelievable.
He's not scored in the last 29 minutes.
He was backing completely up when he was shooting that last free throw. Right there, he stays in it a little bit more. And still, and backs up again, still misses it.
Late violation.
Now he gets another shot at it.
One more.
these are dangerous free throws for Pat Riley, because a guy like Ewing, a scorer, all you need is one to go in. Now you're giving him another shot at it. This could go either way. If he makes his shot, that could get his rhythm going. But boy, he is playing the same way Alonzo Mourning played in game 1. Wherever Alonzo took him to dinner, he should do it again.
The lead is 5, 7:45 to go, regulation time. Ward has Hardaway. Isolation to Tim Hardaway. Takes the jumper over Charlie Ward. Nope. Marley, loose ball foul called on Dan Marley.
I tell you what, the difference in John Starks in game 1 and game 2 is this time he's doing other things. He was so upset at his shooting in game 1, he lost complete control of his emotions. This time, he's staying in the game with effort.
John Crotty harassing Charlie Ward in the inbounds play from Buck Williams. 5-point game. John Starks. Larry Johnson back in, playing with 4. Ewing? No. Battle for the loose ball. Picked up by Buck Williams. Ward inside, taken away by Crotty. Hardaway. Crotty, no. Ike Austin fights for it. Jump ball.
That was a phenomenal defensive play by John Starks. He jumped straight up in the air and didn't draw a foul. Just take a look at this. It's rare when you can leave your feet, get contact, and not get a foul. That is a great job.
Time call with 6:58 remaining in regulation.
Nick Huddle, it's obvious. It's money time. They want to get Patrick Ewing off, so watch for a lot of low post plays to Patrick. Back to you, Vern.
All right, he's cinching up his shorts. That's a good sign.
Yeah, and he needs to, because he has to tighten up his play a little bit right now.
Ward to Starks. Oh, gosh. Wow. Ouch.
And that will be a flagrant foul, most likely.
Oh, wow.
But it was a hard foul.
Foul number 10, Tim Hardaway.
John Starks okay.
No flagrant either. No flagrant.
My goodness.
And he did it, you know, the rule is if you make a play on the ball, Dan Marley did make a play on the basketball.
John Starks, 1 of 7 from the field. This will be his first free throw. Ewing took a shot at the other end. I'm not sure what that was all about. Patrick was down at the opposite end with a ball in his hand. Then
Delay of game called on the Knicks.
And a delay of game call on the Knicks.
I know a lot of rules. That one I don't know. Look at, he's working on his jumper in the middle of the game.
Charlie Ward is over here asking us what's going on. Doc, if you don't know, we're lost.
That's the first for me. In the middle of the game, I think Patrick Ewing thought that there was a break in the action, so he wanted to work on his shot a little bit. And now the refs, they don't know what to call. They're thinking, is that a delay of the game? They don't know.
It was the strangest thing. Patrick had the ball, went down to the opposite end, took a little jumper.
But they want to know where the ball came from.
Here comes Ed Middleton as the conversation continues with Ewing and Ron Gerritsen and Hardaway.
Well, you know, I hope it worked for Patrick. You know, he got to work on his jump shot. If I'm Riley, I'm thinking, what's going on here?
Look at Patrick laughing about it.
That is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Stark shoots a free throw. Now watch this as here's Patrick at the far end.
Just having a little picnic down there working on his shot while Starks is trying to shoot a free throw.
Starks shoots another. The lead is 3.
The Knicks are starting to sneak back in this game.
They've yet to hit a field goal in this quarter. They're 0 for 10. Their points have come at the free throw line. Marley knocked back by Buck Williams. Williams on Marley. Crotty, the penetration and the jumper. Good shot.
Nice shot.
Oh,
nice
beauty.
shot. He's really been playing big for them. Played big for them in game 1 in the first half, and he's doing it again. He's an effort player, and this is an effort type of basketball game.
Ewing. Nope.
Needed a couple more.
Hardaway. Here's Crotty at the other end. He was held by Williams.
Yeah, Buck Williams foul, and that is an automatic 2 shots.
John Crotty goes to the free throw line. Well, we talked about Ike Austin a year ago playing in Turkey. Earlier this season, John Crotty was playing in Italy.
And then came home and basically hanging out in Miami where he lives. Got a call.
Wife was expecting a child, so he was back here. Pat Riley said, And he has made a valuable contribution to this team. Lead is 7. Let's set the lineup now. It's Childs, Johnson, Starks, Ewing, and Buck Williams for New York. Crotty and Mourning, Ike Austin, Marley, and Hardaway.
That's what Patrick Ewing needs to do, is take the ball to the basket and then shoot the ball. I think he has that size advantage, so he just settles for that turnaround jump shot. Right here was the first aggressive move, in my opinion, this entire game from Patrick Ewing.
4th foul on Alonzo Mourning. Allen Houston comes back in for the New York Knicks, replacing John Starks. Charles Oakley also comes back on the floor, and he'll replace Buck Williams. I don't think Starks wanted to be taken out.
No, he didn't. He's such a competitive guy. But listen, you got to get Allen Houston in right now if you're not going well. John Starks is usually the guy who finishes the game for the Knicks. But right now, Allen Houston has played too well, and John has not. So he has to understand that.
Lead is 5 after Ewing's free throws. 5:50 to go in the game. Mourning bumped from behind by Oakley, who goes for the steal. Hardaway, Marley for 3. Whoa,
we missed that one bad.
Childs to Johnson. Ewing. In and out.
Yeah, but that's a nice aggressive move. Alonzo Mourning is really playing him well. Oh, nice pass.
Ike Austin. Time is called with 5:21 to go.
I want you to take a look here at Ike Austin running the floor. You know, he played in Utah, and he's doing a little Karl Malone impersonation there. Look at him run the floor, and no transition D. New York could not get back. It's really tough when a big guy runs the floor like that. Ike Austin's having a big game. I think right now the MVP for Miami has been John Crotty.
Good point. Crotty with 8 points. Look at the bench help tonight. 21 points. They had only 8 in the first game.
And even in the first game, I thought they outplayed the Knicks bench. Now, this is going to be 2 games in a row that the Knicks bench, who has the huge advantage, has been outplayed. They really have been outplayed with effort. These are guys who are scrappy, who comes off the bench, Crotty and Marley and Ike Austin, and they played well. Keith Aston is also.
Here's a note for you. The Knicks don't have a field goal in this quarter. They are 0 for 12. Ewing has missed his last 9 shots. Make it 0 for 13. Patrick Ewing wants it back. Mourning guards him with 4 fouls. No basket.
See, that's when you know your night is really going bad. And when you finally do make one, they call it off, and now you have to shoot 2 free throws.
32 minutes since Patrick Ewing had a field goal. And Mourning just picked up his 5th foul. Now what does Riley do?
That's a tough call. He's up by 7 right now. So he has to decide, do I keep him in, take him out? I think he's going to roll the dice and keep him in. The problem with Alonzo is you can't trust him, you know, because he is an effort player. You can't look out there and say, Alonzo, be careful. Alonzo does not play careful. That's something that Pat Riley talked about today.
2 more free throws. That's 7 free throws in the quarter. All the points scored by New York. And the lead is 5 with 4:45 to go. Mourning comes to set the pitch. Oakley guards it. Crotty. Nice look-away pass, but then Austin wasn't ready for it.
No, he wasn't ready. So I guess that means it was not a good pass, but it really was a nice one.
Ewing. Finally ends the drought. Timeout, Miami.
Yes, good timeout. And Patrick Ewing knows that Alonzo Mourning has 5 fouls, and with 5 fouls, he's going to be aggressive now.
Story. The New York Knicks, 1 of 14 in this quarter, and they're down by 3 points.
Yeah, that's just amazing. One shot, 1 field goal they've made in this quarter, and you're down by 3 points with 4 minutes and 15 seconds left in the game. You have to feel great about that. But the guys you don't know about are the players. They have no idea that that's what they're shooting. They just know that they're down 3 points.
John Crotty has it in his hands. He plays with Ike Austin, Dan Marley, Hardaway, and Mourning. Mourning with 2 quick fouls in the last couple of minutes. Oakley guards Mourning, who fights for position and gets the pass from Hardaway. Childs almost caught with the illegal, and underneath.
Traveling call on Alonzo, and he's lucky that he called that first, because he threw an elbow into Oakley's chest, and he's lucky he didn't get a foul. That's his 7th turnover, and you can see it right here. You can see the feet moving, but look at that elbow. Lucky.
19 Miami turnovers tonight. Mourning has 7 of them. Underneath it goes to Patrick Ewing. And it's a 1-point game. The last 6 have been scored by Miami.
And this is how the battle between Alonzo and Patrick has played out over the years. Even when Alonzo is dominating, Patrick Ewing has gotten the best of him down the stretch. This will be interesting to see how Alonzo responds.
Hardaway with the penetration and the jumper. No. Tipped out. Crotty gets it. 3:15 to go in regulation. Hardaway again with the dribble penetration. Marley back to Mourning for 2.
Yes! Big response. A great way of doing it is getting him a nice, easy look at the basket.
24 for Mourning in the 3-point game. Oakley. They've got P.J. Brown on Ewing.
Oh,
it saw the world and went through.
Yes, he's feeling it now. But this is the first time in this entire game I think he's been aggressive.
Ewing with the last 10 New York points. It's a 1-point game.
And all his shots has been towards the basket.
Mourning knocked away by Oakley. And New York with a chance to reclaim the lead. Oakley guarded by Brown.
I think they're going to go back to Patrick Ewing.
The Knicks call timeout.
But first, they call timeout. Alonzo Mourning has now turned it over 8 times. Patrick Ewing has scored the last 10 New York points. In 5 previous games this season, here's how it's played out in the 4th quarter between these 2 former Georgetown stalwarts. Patrick Ewing, 6.6 per game to 4.2 for Mourning. The rebound edge goes to Patrick and the free throw edge. Tonight, in The fourth quarter, Ewing with 11 points and Mourning with 5.
Yeah, and I really believe that Patrick in the fourth quarters has held an advantage over Alonzo Mourning. And it didn't show really this season, but over a career, I think Patrick has a decided advantage, and he knows that.
Giles, Larry Johnson. Marley with the reach in, knocked it away. Here comes Crotty. He'll take it all the way. No goaltending, no follow shot. Unbelievable. Allen Houston wanted the ball from Giles. They're going to Ewing instead.
And that's what they should go to right now. Make him miss a shot first before you stop going to him.
The tip, no good. Marley with another rebound.
And Ewing lost the ball going up.
John Crotty. Marley fights off the screen. Here's Hardaway. Back to Mourning.
Boy, Alonzo's real lucky.
Boy, is he ever. He threw a hip and did not get called for the foul.
He did just
now he does.
And you know what that was? That was because they didn't call the other one. He tried and got it. He didn't get it on his pick right here, which is absolutely a foul on Alonzo Mourning. So you knew if he did anything else, he was going to get one. And right here, watch him. He's going to hook right there. And that is a foul. There's nothing you can say about that one.
He fouls out with 24 points and 3 fouls in the last quarter.
Now remember, it's Tim Hardaway time now.
1:20 to go. Allen Houston guarded by Hardaway.
Wow.
New York leads.
Allen Houston just got away with a charging foul.
Hardaway's chatting with Ron Garrettson. Garrettson walks away from him. New York Knicks got a huge break here. A no call from Ronnie Garrettson, the referee.
Yeah, and this is usually an automatic charging. When you lower your shoulder like this, that's a charging foul. He got away with it, and he made the shot. Now, what Miami has to do now is forget about that and play basketball. There's a lot at stake, Ron.
Well, they suddenly find themselves trailing in this ball game. They are on the verge of going down 0-2 to the New York Knicks. They have to travel to New York to play Game 3 Sunday, Game 4 Monday.
And much has been made about Miami on the road. They are the best road team this year in the NBA, but they're 0-2 in the playoffs this year on the road. Playoffs are a different story. They must win this game.
John Crotty. Foul is called. There was a foul to give. And let's check in with Brian Burwell.
In the Miami huddle, you should have expected a sense of urgency, but there was none. It was very matter of fact, just diagramming plays and making some stops on defense. Back to you, Vern.
And that's nice because he doesn't want the guys to get anxious. Pat Riley, again, playing with mind. He's trying to get them to be calm but play hard. Quiet storm.
Hardaway with the runner. Got it!
That's the man who has to carry them from this point on.
Brown guards Ewing. Brown fronts Ewing. 10 on the shot clock. Crotty has Childs.
Yeah, Chris Childs is shooting this basketball.
Rebound Morley. Knicks will get one more possession. Crotty to Mashburn. 5 on the shot clock. Here's Crotty. Dishes back to Mashburn for 3. That's his first basket tonight.
It's a big one.
And how about the play of John Crotty?
John Crotty created this entire play. I think he is the man for the Heat. Now, Tim Hardaway's been great, but John Crotty is the man who set everyone up.
prior to the Mashburn shot, the little runner in the lane from Tim Hardaway, Doc.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest shot of the game, even bigger than the Mashburn shot, because they were struggling looking for a basket, and they give the ball to their creator, and he was really the only guy they were going to give the ball to. He was going to shoot it. He's been doing it all year for this team. He's the MVP of this team, and that's Tim Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway is our Bud player of the game. He had that string of 13 consecutive second quarter points. He's got 34th for the night on 11 of 24 and 5 of 8 from three-point range.
He just has the knack of making big shots, and he does it all game. Big shots don't only come at the end of the game. They come to stop runs. They come to start runs, and that's what Tim Hardaway does. He reminds me a lot of what Maurice Cheeks used to do for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Rockets and Sonics coming up next, game 3. We've got 2.9 left in this one. Oakley will inbound. Ewing? No. Miami evens the series at a game each. Game 3 in New York on Sunday. Game 4 in New York on Monday. And Game 5 back here in Miami next Wednesday night. Tim Hardaway leads the way. John Crotty brilliant in the fourth quarter. The Miami Heat lose a lead only to come back on back-to-back baskets. First of all from Tim Hardaway in the lane, and then as Crotty set up the three-pointer from Jamal Mashburn that secured the victory. Miami wins it 88-84. For Doc and Brian, I'm Bert Lundquist. We'll see you next week.